Good morning, brothers. Well, looks like another day in paradise. You can hear the birds singing. The sun's come out after all the rains. It looks like a fresh fall of snow on Mount Arthur. That's where Damo lives in that little hut there. Big hearty thank you to all the GBs, good bastards, the Good Bastard Club that paid for that. Morning, Pace. Morning, Bigsy. Morning, Poe. Time for this second walk. Little lamb, our para ram that's dead. Nice big fat woolies. Good morning, brothers and the occasional sister. Okay, that's enough of the B-roll. Let's get on to this this video and kick it right in the guts. What the hell is going on here in New Zealand? A beautiful country. I mean, look at it, just beautiful, isn't it? I can shoot a deer an hour from here on Mount Arthur. 3/4 an hour away I can go to Motueka River and catch trout. Got the sea to launch my kayak 500 metres that way. But everything has become ridiculously expensive. Fuel is through the roof. Food is through the roof. Just to go and buy a few items, not even essential items, you spend $100. Rent is ridiculous, that's coming down, it has to. But more importantly, what's going on with our entire country? We've now got supposedly a new upgraded health system. The Honourable Andrew Little, Minister of Health, launched it a couple of 3 weeks ago, and I think it's just like the old system. Just like they've taken it away from the DHB and they've basically spread it back out through the country, but I don't see it making any difference. In fact, it could even be worse. And while we're talking about Andrew Little, we have a health crisis right now, and he says we don't. Surgeons are saying there's not enough nurses, there's not enough surgeons, people aren't getting elective surgery. Have you found that the case? Now, I don't watch television because television is full of mainstream media. And mainstream media has to produce something it can sell. And positive stuff never sells, so it's always negative stuff. And whatever you subject yourself to is what you become. So consequently, I don't listen to mainstream media anymore. That's why I'm asking you guys that do. And how accurate is mainstream media? Are we always getting the truth? Okay, enough of our health system. What about the aged care facilities throughout the country? They're in a crisis right now. And again, the Minister of Health saying, no, there's not a crisis. Yes, there bloody is. I guarantee there'll be aged care facilities folding over around the country in the next year. Remember, I told you this, guaranteed. Okay, let's move on to the farmers in New Zealand. Geez, it must be bloody hard being a farmer right now when you've got a system that it basically makes you have to pay for everything that you never had to before. As far as the water goes, there's places where land has now been allocated, put back into either Māori or into historical trusts or places that farmers still have to maintain. They've still got a fence and look after, but they can't utilise. And there's also throughout the country, down the west coast now, I see a lot of people on the west coast got a letter in their mail just the last few days saying that their land now is deemed to be not used for what initially it was when they first bought it, under some new treaty which I don't know anything about because I don't watch TV. It's only what mates tell me. So right below, is this happening or am I dreaming? How is it for young people? I mean, I've spent an entire life to buy this bit of dirt here, and I've only got really half a house myself because when I bought it the land was what I paid for and the house came with it, but that was condemned, so I paid so far I've been able to get my bedroom fixed and the kitchen. The rest of it's got rats run through it. Not that I care, but what's it like for young families trying to get ahead? If a bloke my age is working his whole life, is in a situation where, I mean, I'm self-employed, so I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I never stop working. I'm either creating a video for this channel or my other channel, or I'm working on the farm, or I'm doing something. That's what it's like, and that's a choice thing. And you guys that are self-employed will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're a farmer that owns your own farm, you're working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't get holidays. That's normal, and I'm not grizzling about that because I love work. But for those that aren't working that much and that much output, how are they surviving? And how are they going to survive? You can't even drive your car like G's into town and back without the fuel costs are through the roof. Okay, enough grizzles. Right below what you reckon's going on with New Zealand, because I don't think it's that flash, or it's going to even get better. We've got inflation running at over 7% right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the government printing more money? Is that why it's that? I don't know. I want to ask you guys, what do you think? What's going on in New Zealand? It's a beautiful country. We shouldn't be having all this. I'll tell you something. Right throughout history, whenever you have a situation where you have a minority starting to control the majority, there's blood. Every time you get a smaller group of people that start to control the large group after a while had a guts for this, mate, and they start to rebel. When farmers are saying we can't do our work properly and they're not being heard by the powers that be, now what's going to happen? I mean, our main industry in New Zealand used to be what? Tourism? Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Wasn't that classed to be the main one? Well, our primary industries is our main industries now. The four F's: farming, forestry, fruit and fishing. Well, if you don't listen to all these guys here, what have we got left to run the country on? Isn't it the farmers that are the backbone of this country and always have been? If you're not listening to those blokes, what's the future for everybody? I don't know. I'm asking you. Right below. This is a bro check club. That's where brothers check on brothers, and I'm checking on my brothers right now by putting out a little video saying, how are you coping? How are you finding it? Do you think I'm being a little over the top? Do you think that these draconian measures that are being put in place where people are actually losing the rights to their land that they've spent their whole life to? I mean, it's not happening right here on my land, but it could come. And I feel for my brothers on the west coast. This latest letter that was sent is like, I had a quick flick over it last night, and without reading the whole lot, I won't rattle on too much about it, but if you know anything about that, comment on that below. Cast a bit of light on it. Because I reckon that there's a bit of belt tightening coming up. I reckon we're going to be tightening our belts. Hey dogs, what do you dogs reckon? What do you reckon, Pace? Hey boy? Hey? What do you reckon, mate? What's going to happen here in Aotearoa? Hey? What's the guts? Yeah, it's a dog's life, really. It is a bloody cunt. I say a bloody country, a bloody good country. Bit of a Freudian slip there. It's a bloody good country, but I think we could do better right now, the way things are going. One of the highest rates of suicide in New Zealand among the population is among men, not women, men, in the rural sector. Now, when you're working in a place like on a bit of land and a farm in the middle of butt fuck nowhere somewhere, and you're on tractor all day, you're isolated, you don't have mates to talk to and share what's going on, and if you own a bit of land and you're struggling and you're by yourself and you're on that tractor all day working, or you're out in the paddock and you're worried how you're going to meet the payments for the fence that you just had fixed up, or the tractor needs a new diff, or the house has got a leak and you need to get someone out there to fix it up because you're busy running the farm, then you're in a situation where you're alone. You don't have a bro to check on you. So if you are someone that's in a situation like that, you might be a share milker, or you might be a musterer like a shepherd, or you might be just a bloke that's in New Zealand and you're isolated, and the way that things are going and you're finding it more and more difficult, look at what you've got. If you've got your health, you can always go, okay, this hasn't worked, and talk to a mate, and don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm struggling, this hasn't worked, this is not working for me, I'm really struggling right now, and vocalize what you're feeling, what's going on. Well, I say this because I know a lot of farmers. I've got a lot of mates that work in that industry. I know a lot of guys in the forestry and the fishing industry too, and a few in the fruit for that matter. People right next door to me. But if you're isolated it then puts you in a situation where you've got more on your plate to deal with. The burden's heavier because you can't share around because you're away from people. I feel for you guys, but also it's up to yourselves to be proactive at making sure you've got a good support network around you. And I hope that you have, and if you haven't, I hope you become active at creating that for yourselves, so there's something to cushion the blow when you fall, because inevitably sooner or later, particularly the way things are right now with the economy and the way that this country is moving and the direction it's moving in, which is the wrong direction as far as I'm concerned, I think you need to get ready to have something to catch you if you do fall, because things are going to get harder. They are getting harder, and I really can't imagine what it's like to be if you're a young person trying to start out today in this environment with everything the way it is. It's just so difficult. Okay, it's not all doom and gloom. I'm just voicing things probably more as much to not get it off my chest, but to find out what the general consensus is out there amongst you guys. This is only a small channel. It's only got 1,500 people subscribed to it. It's only small. We're only a small group of brothers that sort of check in, the occasional sister that come and check in on each other, but I'm keen to find out your spin. What do you reckon? Am I too far off track? Am I being too negative? Or is this a reality? From where I'm looking, just from what I'm talking to people, I'm not hearing that much positive stuff about it. But I don't follow the news. The only thing I really look up is the weather, to see what's going on with the weather. And that's really about it. A little bit of sport, but the news just depresses me, and I know why it's all negative. They have to make stuff that sells, so they publish all the negative stuff. The people have just died. That they're atrocious at always trying to create stories, but the real true story should be coming from you and me, because we're in the field of life. We're actually out there doing it, and I think this is the way that news is going to go. This is why news media outlets are struggling as well, and it's also probably why the government pumped in like 50 million into our mainstream media in New Zealand not so long ago. Wonder why they did that, eh? Wonder why they had to put 50 million into it. Someone answer that question. Okay, have a great day. Check on a brother, and please comment below on this one and let me know your thoughts, because I want to get a feeling amongst you guys what you reckon about this topic. Okay, go steady. See you next video. You going hunting tomorrow, Pace? You sure, mate? You go pig hunting? Yep. You too, Po. Yeah. Good girl. Always a good girl, aren't you? Always a good girl. Yeah, we're going to go chase a pig tomorrow. That's right. Good dog. Good dog.